It's movie time with John DeSando and his friends online. So everything is gonna be just fine. From the top down to the bottom. He's gonna let you know if you should stay home or if you should go. Might even yell if it's a spectacle. From San Francisco to Long Island. 'Cause nothing's better than a motion video with cinema. It's movie time.
It's Movie Time is produced and hosted by John DeSando. Listen to broadcast shows Friday at 4:01 and 8:01 p.m. Read reviews and listen to shows online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando,
I'm Audrey Harkonen.
and it's movie time.
It's Movie Time.
Well, Audrey, we're looking today at penguin lessons. Now, let me tell you my little anecdote before you tell me anything.
Oh, please do.
When I was in New Zealand 10, 15 years ago, we hid in trenches to be there when the penguins, at exactly the same time every day, came from the sea and went to their nests. Passed right by us, within a foot or two of us, walking just as little cutie pies, must have been hundreds of them, coming from the sea at the same time, and just seeing them. And they're every bit as cute as the penguin in the movie that we're talking about, The Penguin Lessons.
The Penguin Lessons.
So-
Yes.
So,
So you have upfront and personal experience with penguins.
yes,
You're a
and,
lucky person.
and I admit I don't know the difference between the Magellan, which I think is in this movie,
I think that's what it
but,
is. Yeah.
and Monarch.
Yeah.
But people have seen Happy Feet years ago,
Yes.
which
Yes.
is a terrific animation.
Yes.
Just a great film.
Yes.
So, the Penguin Lessons, set it up, Audrey.
Okay. This is the setup. It's a classic motif of life-changing events occur due to an unexpected or external forces. Those external forces are a person, a place, or a thing. In this case, the life of a cynical English school teacher is forever and upended and turned about by a penguin.
And you know something, you're making it even more dramatic than it is. This is one of those low-key babies.
Oh, yes, yes. I'm building.
I know,
building, yes.
you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
And Steve Coogan would probably call and thank you for that.
Yes.
Because he so underplays his role, and he's not Mr. Chips.
No.
But Steve Coogan is one of my favorite British
Oh.
actors.
Alan Partridge is
Yes,
the character.
that's right,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
right, yeah.
right.
And he has a very nice ironic take to everything he says.
Well, that is one of the key features especially in Brit humor, which I
Yes.
love so much.
Yes.
And that is, what he does is, he mumbles and
Yes,
he
he does.
makes snarky remarks both in English and in Spanish. He does not try to present himself as a polished, a worldly, educated Brit. He's just this guy, and the snarky remarks that come out of his mouth are just, the penguin isn't a communist is one of
I
them.
know.
He doesn't like rugby because of the shape of the ball.
All right, yeah, it's not round.
Yeah, yes, and that dry and
Or it is.
droll is Brit, and I just love it.
Yeah, and I mean, the story is set, you and I have a really big hit on YouTube for our review of I'm Still Here.
Yes,
Which is set in Brazil.
same
And-
era,
Same era.
and the same political issues
Yeah, we're
are
talking-
occurring. Yes, yes.
Don't Cry for Me, Argentina.
Right, right.
1976, I think.
Yeah,
Take
yes.
over from
Exactly.
Perón.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we have a similar situation. That's why we're just a natural going into this.
Sure.
So what's the conflict?
The conflict, there's the political conflict, of course, which is the backdrop, but then there are these characters that have these internal personal conflicts that are slowly revealed by the penguin. And that is what I'd like to rename it. It should be the penguin effect, not the penguin lessons.
Good one. I like it better.
Yeah, the penguin does not have tricks. It doesn't do any backflips. It stands and it stares and it looks at a character, and it may flap its wings a little, and it may cackle a little bit. It may poop, but it just is a penguin, and it draws people in to confess or to discuss or to talk.
It's really like a blank slate.
It
And
absolutely
asking
is.
you to talk, and
Yep.
our major character, played by Steve Coogan,
Yes.
and what's his name?
Tom Michelle.
Yeah, Tom Michelle, and I believe the original was Mitchell, or I think it's still Michelle.
I think it is.
Yeah, I think somebody
it
had
is, yeah.
mistaken that. But anyway, that Tom Michelle wrote the original story.
He wrote the story.
And he
Yes.
actually did experience this.
Yes.
Basically, he's an itinerant professor.
Right, traveling around South America, and he's sort of rudderless, and he's dejected, he's sad, he's surly, curmudgeonly,
Yeah.
this little animal is thrust upon him for very, very clever and cute reasons, and it changes him.
Yeah. And you know, the change is not immense.
It's not dramatic.
No.
No, it isn't dramatic, and that's another Brit feature.
That's right, yeah.
It isn't overwhelming, it's not big, it's not, but it's in small ways, it changes everybody.
Well, even the fact that he allows the penguin to stay with him at the
Right.
college,
Yes,
when Jonathan Price, who plays the headmaster, would not approve if he knew.
and I did not recognize Jonathan Price. I absolutely did not.
Just like Colonel Sanders.
Yes, yes.
But I always love him, yeah.
Yeah.
These two boys are really good
Oh, they're
actors.
good, they're good.
Yeah, so he's teaching boys, and you're beginning to get the Dead Poets Society feel to it.
Yes.
And we'll talk about that in our
Yes,
podcast.
yes, yeah.
We'll talk about education, among other things. But right now, we're just concentrating on this film itself.
Right.
The Penguin Lessons. And it slowly but surely, it allows him, listen, what a terrible cliche, slowly but surely, please.
Yeah.
Guess I won't edit that out, right?
Right.
But Audrey, he is trying to connect with these young men. And it's tough as a teacher, and we all know. You've been a teacher, I've been a teacher. So we all know how tough it is to connect with an audience. But once you do,
Right,
you're
right.
in.
I'm not sure he's really trying to connect. I think that he's just trying to get through. He's trying to,
That's true.
he's just there on contract, and he's going to do what he's supposed
Right.
to do. And it is, it's a little bit of the backstory of these elite boys that he's teaching.
Yes.
And one of them is continually getting picked on, and it's bothering him. And so it is the introduction of the penguin, which starts to just make everybody kind of chill and communicate.
Yeah, and we
start
know
talking.
that there's
Yeah.
some hook,
Right,
and usually it comes from you personally, and that penguin becomes the hook
yeah,
of it actually getting their attention.
right,
Now, they're not all over the place, they're just simply not interested. And he,
exactly.
you know, he loves the Shelley, and he's got the verses on the board and so on.
Right, right,
And now and then somebody does identify with it, but it's just not making it until he brings in that
and sets the penguin up
Wow.
on the desk.
Yeah.
And they are mesmerized.
And you know, Audrey, I was thinking that how easy it was to photograph this, because all you have to do is set your penguin up for a few days and just keep taking shots.
Yeah,
Because if you'll notice, I mean, there are some times when they're tutored together, he carries them.
right,
There's times that they have the penguin walking across the frame,
right, right.
but it doesn't mean it was right there with everybody.
Right, exactly, exactly.
So I thought they had a pretty easy deal with this penguin. And then I thought to myself, well, why? Why? It is because it's about the people. It's not about the penguin.
Yes, very much so. Yes, yes.
And even there are places here, what I love is that casual Brit you're talking about.
Yeah.
With the, when he went to Uruguay,
Oh, yes, yes.
and he has a connection. Is
Ye-
that where he had the connection?
Yes, yes. He's trying to pick up a woman that he's been dancing with.
Yes.
And they come across an oil slick, and there are some dead animals, and one of them is this little penguin is still alive.
Yeah.
And so to impress this woman, at first he doesn't want to do anything, but then to impress this woman, he smuggles the oil slick covered
Yes.
bird into the bathtub, and they begin to clean it. And that's when the dynamic between Tom and the beautiful woman
Yeah.
falls apart and goes down the tub, and the bond between
Well,
him and Juan Salvador,
Right,
yes,
yeah.
Juan Salvador
Right.
begins.
Yeah, some were saying that that's just an extension of Jonathan Seagull. Jonathan.
That was mentioned in a few of the critics
Yeah,
they were talking
yeah,
about.
I wouldn't have thought about that.
No, no.
But you can see it. You can see where it could come from. What's so interesting about that is this is a movie about relationships. And that little relationship, which you had hoped that he actually would connect with this woman.
Yeah.
It's what he needed was a dynamic.
You could tell that
Yeah.
that was important, yeah.
But then it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Well, hell, life doesn't work out.
Yep, but he got the penguin.
Yeah, but he got the penguin, right.
Yeah.
So while he lost her, he gained something else.
Yes.
And because the penguin is essentially a tabula rasa, it kind of allows him to come out, as it does his
Yes.
young colleague,
Yes.
the scientist.
Yes, his name is Tapio. When he first introduced himself, and the actor is Bjorn Gustafsson, and I thought that he introduced himself as a Finn. Did he not introduce himself as
That's
Finnish?
a good question. You would have thought
Yeah,
of that.
well, I heard it. I swear I heard it. And of course, because one of his first questions, Tapio's first question is, do you have any vodka? You know,
Yes,
that starts the relationship
That's
with,
right.
with
Yeah,
the young
yeah,
man.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's much looser than he looks.
Yes, he is. Yes, he
And
is.
he acts. He's another character who comes out. Again, it's not like you're going to say, this is so astounding and amazing.
No.
You're just going to go back and you're going to be satisfied that relationships have worked.
Yes.
And even with the headmaster.
The headmaster using the penguin as a confessional and just chatting and talking, and everybody takes turns because the penguin just stands there and looks at you.
All right, Audrey, we have more to say, but people have to go to Backtalk
Yes,
on WCBE, the podcast experience,
yes.
to hear us talk more about this. Now, Audrey, so we're in a particular time of year just before the big summer blockbusters come.
Right.
What do you advise about this movie called The Penguin Lesson?
All right, well, the ending is typically Brit.
Okay?
No spoilers here, but
Well, what do you advise the audience?
it will break your heart and mend it again immediately in the last scene. So this lighthearted, fun Brit film just satisfies at the very end.
It's really what movies have always done,
Yes,
without being spectacular.
nothing spectacular,
And
very
Common,
quiet.
you're right. After all, this is the same director as Philomena, right? Yes,
Yes,
it is, yes.
and,
Catania.
yeah, Full Monty, back in
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
1997, Full
Yes,
Monty.
yes, the writer, Jeff Pope, did Stan and Ollie, which
Yes,
which
yes,
he was in,
which
and
Steve Coogan
Philomena,
was,
which
yes.
with Coogan and an older lady.
Judy Dench.
Judy Dench, right.
Judi Dench.
Right. So it has a great pedigree.
Yes,
You just can't, it's not like Wicked Little Letters, which came out last year or whatever it was. It's not going to be as hilarious as that.
but you giggle all the time.
And in our Drexel Theater, you can go next door and get your meatloaf sandwich at the kitchen, at the newfangled kitchen. And
Oh,
bring it into the Drexel, very comfortable, small art theater, and have a really enjoyable time.
Yeah.
Patricia and I did, on a Friday afternoon.
lovely.
Nothing better than that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so it's called The Penguin Lesson.
Lessons.
It's movie time with John DeSando and